Hello. Thank you for checking out episode 23, part 23 of Lifeless Love Life in the US and or in the West. I have been ranting for 22 episodes now. So this is going to be the next rant. And what I'm going to talk about is it's something that makes us uptight, it makes us anal. It's a certain word that we love and we don't love at the same time. Creepy. Anything to us is creepy, really. What bothers me is creepy is worse than a violent crime, apparently. And I just mentioned how we feel or we think everything's creepy, which is one of the reasons why it feels impossible for an average guy to get with someone. So I'll just give you random examples. If you flirt with someone, you're creepy. If you compliment someone, you're creepy. If you say hi to someone the wrong way, you're creepy. The way you look at someone is creepy. Like I said, everything is creepy. I wish we could lighten up. I remember, there's a few stories I could share, but I'll mention one. How I saw someone I found attractive, and I simply, purposely, obviously, I made it obvious. I made it transparent that I found her attractive, and I was flirtatious. I was just interacting with her. But the way I interacted with her, it was, I guess I gave a weird impression. Or, as she would call it, I gave a weirdo impression. The problem was she was working and there's no other way to make my move except at her job. I don't see her outside the job. I only see her at the job. So I can only make the move one way, which is at the job. And then what happened was, so I befriended her, and then it's hard to do everything in one scene, so I went back the next day just to make my move, and that was difficult to do, because she really didn't want me there. Of course, I noticed the red flags, but I had to make my move. I just had to. So eventually, I eventually made the move. It was difficult to even socialize with her. It wasn't because she was working, it was just she really didn't want to be near me, because I was so weird with my approach. But I made the move. And then she gave me a phone number. It wasn't hers. It was her boyfriend's, of course, right? If I could share some stories with you, but I shared this one. But if there's others I could share that are just really bothersome to me. But the reason why I shared the story is because in that scene I was known as weirdo, but they could have easily called me creepy too. the point I want to make, the reason why I shared this short story is because we just can't lighten up. You would have thought, God forbid, you would have thought I committed a violent crime, or I would have attempted to commit a violent crime. There was no violent crime committed. There was no harassment. There wasn't anything evil going on. What I did was befriend someone. Yeah, I was attracted, but I befriended her. And just saying hi, who are you, and how do you like work? But it was because I was, I guess for lack of a better word, happy to meet her. She freaked out about that. Just because I was happy to interact with her freaked her out. And it's like, I wish many girls like her could just put life in perspective. It's like, unfortunately, homeless people exist, right? So, we all know that. We see them. 9.8 out of 10 times, they're not going to bother you. But they act weird. Some of them act weird, but you just keep going about your day. You don't really freak out over a weird homeless person. It's a tragedy, but you don't freak out over it. It's just part of life. It's just, you're not being attacked. In this case, if you want to say I was being a weirdo, fine. I consider myself different. So if that makes me weird, that's fine. But it's like, nothing. It wasn't like I wasn't attacking. You know what I mean? Nothing evil was happening. I wish if she could have lightened up. All she had to do was greet me back the same day, the next day. And I get it. I did notice red flags. That was on me to ignore it. But it's like when you're a lonely guy and you're just trying to figure it out. You're trying to, you're just trying to fix your situation emotionally. You got to put yourself out there. But when you do that, which I'll probably get into in a future video, you could be in controversial situations, which I was in. So if I was a weirdo or creepy, all right, okay, but like, it wasn't evil. And our problem in this anal America, we think everything's evil. Oh, if you're a weirdo, you're worse than a murderer. If you're a creeper, which I just said what we think being a creeper is, everything's a creeper. If you give someone a compliment, you're creepy. Being creepy or weirdo is worse than a murderer, is worse than a rapist, is worse than a guy who's selling you deadly drugs. I don't mean weed or meth. I'm talking about deadly drugs like ecstasy, heroin, opioid. You're worse than a person who commits purposed harassment, meaning you're harassing someone and they tell you to stop it and you keep going. That's purpose harassment. You're worse than someone who commits theft, who steals, who breaks into a house. You're worse than that kind of person. You're worse than a person who litters in public, purposely litters in public. You're worse than that person. It boggles my mind. You're worse than a person who commits vandalism. It's like, wow. Again, we think everything's creepy. I'm going to add one more nugget to this. It's not going 9.5 minutes, right? I'm going to add one more nugget to this. What if a guy follows a girl to make a move? I know. He's worse than Hitler, right? He's worse than Mussolini. Well, let me ask you this, anal America. What is a guy to do? He needs to make a move. If he has to follow her, he's got to do that. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Because you're worse than a violent criminal if you follow a girl and make a move. Here's the thing. If you're really a bad guy, like a evil guy, you're gonna do bad anyway. But if you're a respectful guy, if you follow the girl, all you're gonna do is make a move. You're not gonna do anything bad. That's the point I want to make with this. It's like you're labeled bad if you follow the girl, but if you're really bad, you would do bad if you're not following her. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna do bad anyway. So, which is so anal. I know my favorite word is uptight, which I just said right now, but like anal, uptight, same thing. Which is so anal, and that creepy weirdo. It's just worse than Hitler, and it's like all I did was make a move. And I'm sorry if I gave the impression that I was weird, but again, weird is not bad. Weird is just weird. Now, can weird be bad or good? Yeah, I don't know. No one knows. We only know that weird is weird, and that's it. But when you come across someone who's weird, it's nothing to freak out about. Like, you should freak out over someone who's, God forbid, someone who might commit an evil act toward you. Freak out over that, but someone who's weird or weirdo, creepy is... I'm not saying to like the guy, I'm not saying to trust the guy, but lighten up. It's just someone who's being weird. It's just, he's different. Again, doesn't sorry, I'm so animated. It doesn't mean you like him or trust him, but don't assume he's evil. He's just different. That's the ultimate point I want to make. But the way we're trained, once you see weird or creepy, worse than Mussolini, worse than the most evil guy. And meanwhile, guess what? The nicest guy in the world could be the biggest monster. Did you know that? But we're not trained that way. We see someone nice, we assume good. We see someone weird, we assume bad. We assume. That's our problem. We can't keep an open mind. We can't. We can't be objective. One more time. Just one more time. It's like the homeless person example. If someone if you cross paths with someone, or someone approaches you and they appear weird or creepy, you don't assume bad. Don't assume good. You don't know. You just know they're creepy or weird, and that's it. And my point is, creepy and weird is not bad. I'm not saying it's good. It's not bad. It's just, it is what it is, and that's it. There's nothing to freak out about. You freak out over someone who's, God forbid, someone who's about to attack you, or, God forbid. Wow, this was passionate to me. It's going on 14 minutes. I think the most I did, right, in these episodes was like 15 minutes. So I'm going to wrap it up. Episode 23 is going to be the end of it. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just a cultural thing that I wish we could just update or change. Weird and creepy is not bad. And I'm not saying it's good. It's not bad either. It just is what it is. It's just a person who's different. A different person is just different, that's it. So stay tuned for episode 24. I forgot what I'm going to talk about there. I'm always forgetting. But stay tuned for episode 24. Appreciate you watching this. I just appreciate it whenever you watch it, wherever you are. Thank you. It means a lot for the one or two people in the world. All right. Take care. All right.